In Lesson 5, we're going to discuss some basic transitions and learn a little bit about the Effects tab. Before we do that, one quick hint when working in your timeline. If you want to magnify your timeline so you can see more details as you're editing, or you want to see the big picture on your timeline, you can do this in two easy ways. Go to the lower left corner of the timeline, and you'll move this little triangle left or right, and watch as the timeline changes. You can also use keystrokes. Command plus magnifies your timeline. Command minus pulls out to give you a larger view. To magnify the timeline to a particular point, simply put the playhead on a certain spot. Then you can hit Command plus and you will magnify the timeline so you can see a more detailed shot of that particular area that you might want to edit in. Now let's go to the Effects tab and see what you can do. Here you see the options when we're on Effects tab. At the top you see a Favorites folder. Any effect you frequently use can be dragged into the Favorites folder for easy access. Let's talk about a simple dissolve. This is where you want to dissolve from one shot to another. Find the Video Transitions folder, and then in that you will see a Dissolve folder, and there is the basic cross dissolve right there. All you do is drag it down between the two pieces of video that you want to dissolve between. We'll play it out and see what that looks like. Now, the default on any transition is 1 second or 30 frames. Remember, in Final Cut Pro, 30 frames makes up 1 second. So if you want to change that transition to make it a shorter dissolve, just click on it, and up in the viewer window, you can type in, it's now set at 1 second, you can type it in for 15 frames. We'll go back down and take a look at what a little shorter dissolve looks a little bit nicer. And there you have it. Now you can click on a dissolve. To delete it, you just click on it, and then you hit delete, and you've deleted dissolve, and you have another option for doing a dissolve. You can just simply control-click between the two pieces of video, and there you'll get an option for Add Transition Cross Dissolve. You click on that, and now you've created the dissolve. One thing to keep in mind with dissolves, for a dissolve to appear, you need video past the end of your edit. Basically, to get a full second dissolve, the first piece of video needs to have 15 frames past the end of your edit, and the second piece of video needs 15 frames before the beginning of it. Those extra frames in editing are known as handles. If you don't have the extra frames or handles, edit the clip down to give yourself the extra room. But remember, if there are two sound bites from interviews you're putting together, be very careful of the audio implications for doing this. Another dissolve option is a fade in, fade out dissolve, which allows you to go to black and come back up. Let's try that and see how that looks. You bring it down to the timeline, and there you have a fade in and fade out dissolve. To do a fade in, fade out dissolve without having to worry about handles, all you got to do is pull the two pieces of video apart from each other, and then do a control click and add the cross dissolve to one of the pieces of video, and say you want it to be just the 15 frames going down to black. You type in 15 frames, you hit return, and then you can drag it, that 15 frame dissolve, from one piece of video to the other, and this is how you drag any dissolve around on Final Cut Pro. Just hold the Option key down and then just pull it over there, and that's it. And when you click, like we talked about before, the two pieces of video, and you hit delete, you can bring them together, and now you've created your own fade in, fade out dissolve. You have other options in the effects window. There are different wipes you can use, and also there are some video filters and audio filters. We'll talk about those in future lessons. And that's Lesson 5 for Final Cut Pro.